Artful Living in Ohio is presented by Sharon Weiss Galleries in Columbus's Short North and by Vision Antiques and Estate Sales and Vasari Appraisal Services. Vision and Vasari on West 5th Avenue in Columbus.
In our last edition of Artful Living in Ohio, I showed you my condo and the artwork that my husband Jay and I have enjoyed collecting. Today, we're still in a high-rise. You're going to see something completely different. Hello, Mark.
Good
It's
evening.
so good to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Mark, if you would please tell us before we start the tour, how did you begin to collect art?
Well, like a lot of people, I think it was mainly accidental. And it's one of those things, like some of my other hobbies, once I start to dabble in it, I begin to go down the rabbit hole, and that has happened to me with watches, with cars, and with art.
It becomes an obsession.
It does.
Let's just start right here. Please tell us about the skulls, your collections in here.
Well, this is my cabinet of curiosities, I suppose, and the top are just some Piero Fornasetti pieces. Most of them are current production, although the little box and the coasters are vintage pieces I picked up at auction. This is a reproduction human skull. It is not a real human skull.
Okay, it certainly looks real.
It does look real. I picked that up in Maryland on a trip with my mom and my sister. It was sort of an accidental purchase. I saw it, I liked it, I had to have it.
I don't blame you. And these little guys are so intricately carved?
Yes.
Or...
So those are small pieces by an artist named Chris Kutsky. I suppose you'd call it found object pieces.
Okay.
A lot of it are, found pieces, leftover
I see.
remnants of different things. Some of it he fabricates himself.
Let's talk about the skull. The large skull.
Yes. So this is a work by Philippe Pasqua, who lives and works out of Paris. I came across his work, 7 or 8 years ago in Los Angeles at a gallery, actually sculptural pieces that were also a vanity scene, the skull and the butterflies. And
now, is this a photo?
This is a photo.
Okay.
And these were large-scale sculptures that he did,
okay.
And it's in L.A. with L.A. gallery prices. And I thought, well, it's nice to dream. That's a really cool thing. Maybe a year or two later, I saw this piece come up at auction, much more accessible and just a very visually striking piece.
It is, and it's perfect
just
with
the scale
your walls.
And the black and white. It wouldn't be the same if it was color.
Okay, Mark, let's go down to the next piece of artwork, this large painting. It looks like it's multimedia.
Yes, another Philippe Pasqua piece. In addition to being a sculptor and photographer, he also paints. This work is, sometimes people compare it to Jenny Sullivan. It's a similar sort of style, very heavy, thick strokes, lots of texture in the painting.
It works so well with this wall.
So the wall is, underneath it's just regular drywall, and rather than go with texturing or other sort of things, it's a technique where a material very similar to plaster is just put over the drywall and dyed. Then it is basically buffed.
It's beautiful. I believe that you had this woodwork put in by a decorator?
I did, and this is where I need to give a shout out to Angie Paluzzi of Kitchen Concepts in Powell. Given how a lot of the dark colors and other things, it maintains the darkness, if you will, but with a sense of warmth.
We have a story over here. Let's talk about this gentleman.
So this is a minotaur, and you wouldn't believe the number of guests that asked me, what kind of creature is that? And I guess I just assumed everybody learned about minotaurs.
No.
If not in high school, then in one of your college classes, Greek mythology. But it's done by an artist in England, Beth Carter, who has done a Minotaur series in various poses in about 3 different sizes.
Wow, This is moody. I'm obsessed with your wallpaper. Did you choose this?
I did choose this, and the wallpaper is by Mui, which is one of my favorite design houses. Marcel Wonders does a lot of work with them, and this is part of their exotic animal series,
Okay.
which they've done a series of upholstery and wallpaper and other things, and there is like a velvety texture to it. It's just very fun. I love it. When you walked in and asked me how I got into collecting, I told you it was sort of by accident, and this wall is kind of illustrative of that. Various things I've picked up at various times, mostly in the last 10 years, some of it traveling, some of it at auctions. Starting over at the far left, these etchings are by an artist named Ravi Zupa, out of Colorado. Painting is, I picked this up locally at Grandview Mercantile, which has some great finds and a great place for anybody interested in art. This painting, which I call Bottle People, was actually a barn find. It was painted by an artist named Eleanor Arnold Clark, who worked out of Pittsburgh in the 40s and 50s. Wolf's Auction House in Cleveland found a bunch of her work in a barn and cleaned it up and auctioned it off. And I bought about a half dozen of her pieces in the very early 2000s in Cleveland.
These paintings are perfectly hung. Do you do this yourself, or do you bring someone in?
I have somebody hang my stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it makes such a difference to have them
It really does,
hung.
and it seems like such a frivolous thing to pay somebody to do, but it makes all the difference.
It's not. I totally agree.
Yep. Fortunately, the people I bought this condo from had these built-ins already done, so I had no problem filling it up with things.
And Mark, this is the Murphy bed, correct?
It is, and I can actually vouch for the comfort of this Murphy bed because I've slept on it a few times. I'm a convert, especially for spaces like this.
Okay.
It's great to have
a
space for them.
Perfect for this room. And let's talk about this sculpture in the corner.
So that is a piece by Blake Ward, part of his Fragment series that he did, I guess, 7 or 8 years ago. And I acquired this piece from my friends at a gallery in Chicago. Shepherd Fairy pieces, Shepherd's prints have, very popular, very collectible. He sells them for $50 or $100. They sell out within minutes and then trade on the secondary market in, low 4 figures.
Can you believe how much the skyline has changed just in the past 3 years?
It really has. I've been in this area of downtown since 2014, and before the building that we're standing in now even existed. And this is a great floor to be on because it feels like from this vantage point that we're in the city. We're not looking down on the city or other rooftops, and obviously it's a spot that can't be beat for Red, White, and Boom.
Mark, this was a fascinating tour. Thank you so much for sharing your collections with us. And your style is complete opposite of mine and Jay's. So I think this is going to make a great Artful Living in Ohio edition.
Well, I'm so
Thank you.
I'm so happy to share it. And if you can't share it, then what's the point, right?
Why have it?
So thank you.
You're welcome.
Artful Living in Ohio is presented by Sharon Weiss Galleries in Columbus's Short North and by Vision Antiques and Estate Sales and Vasari Appraisal Services. Vision and Vasari on West 5th Avenue in Columbus.